Jon Olstad again, Senior Manager of Technician Production from the Walls Automotive Group, coming at you with another tech tip. Today's tech tip is a little bit different. We're going to just do a little bit of a walkthrough of how I approach diagnosis. So it was asked on me a few years ago when I was helping a student, what goes through your brain when going through any type of diagnostic when you're looking at any car. So it actually took me a while because to me it was like breathing. I've gotten so used to my habits and all that kind of stuff, so I wrote them down, and I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything, so I'm going to read some of it to you, but I want to make sure you guys are aware of them. It's not like it's groundbreaking material, but it's just basic things to always look at so that if somewhere along the line, maybe the OEM already figured out what the issue is, that we don't have to go digging. So the first one on the list is, can it be duplicated? Based on the symptoms, what are the systems involved? Always remember to keep it simple. We as technicians tend to make it seem like every scenario coming into the vehicle or into the dealership that we have to diagnose is going to be this massively difficult diagnosis, which most of the time isn't true. Usually it's just something simple that we can get to relatively quickly with practice, right? So number one, can it be duplicated? Number two, are there any codes? Pretty simple, I know, but so many people, you'd have no idea how many people I've asked, did you have any codes? And I don't know, I didn't check. So number two, keep it simple, are there any codes? So that leads us to tip number three. Are there any TSBs or bulletins, recalls, campaigns of any kind, special policies? In my experience with all the OEMs that I've had experience with, it's always best to do a keyword search rather than just reading through them all. Use the most descriptive keyword of the symptom that you're using. Maybe it's a code, search the code. But find out if the OEM has already done the legwork of diagnosing what that common issue, if it might be common or uncommon issue, instead of you going through and doing all the legwork to find out what the issue is. Now in some scenarios you might not have it, which then will lead us to step number 4. Depending on your scenario, is it a controllable function? Can you turn something on and off to manipulate the symptom to be able to determine if the system is working correctly or incorrectly? If not, that leads us to number 5. If it's electrical, print all related schematics. I can't emphasize that enough. Print schematics. Don't try and do it from your computer screen. Don't try and do it from anything else. Print the schematic. Use it to write and make notes on where you can follow along with the flow chart if you're using the flow chart of some sorts. Maybe it's an engine no start, right? A crank no start flow chart from the OEM. Print off some of the schematics that are related to it and follow along in the flow chart to find out what it is they're asking you to do. This will also help you learn to read schematics better. Most technicians have trouble reading and understanding schematics. This will help accelerate that learning curve by allowing you to see when the OEM asks you to do a certain step, what is it that the desired outcome is and what it looks like on the schematic. Pretty soon you'll be able to just grab a schematic like this and just diagnose it without having to use the flow chart, which again, we get paid on speed and quality, so therefore that helps you speed up. Which leads me to the last one. Number 6, if it's an electrical concern, can you give it what it's missing? In other words, if it's missing a power, can you put power on that circuit somewhere and does the system function? Maybe it's an open in the power circuit, but I couldn't tell you how many times over the years that I've repaired an open to a power and found that another portion of that system didn't work. So it's always good to just see if you can and the remaining system works. Maybe it's missing ground. Can you give it another ground? So the second half to giving the system what it needs is pay attention to what it is that it's asking you to do. If it's asking you to go after a module or a certain component and that's buried, take a good look at the schematic and see if there's a different spot in the schematic where you can access it to not have to disassemble half the car to be able to go to where the OEM wants you to test. The OEM is obviously looking to test the whole system, but sometimes if we can look at a different spot in the system and we can see that we have those measurements at that location, we don't need to tear the car apart. The best example I have of this was recently a technician asked me to help him diagnose a rear camera. On this rear camera system, it was a 360 system. It was asking to go to the video processing module, which was buried inside, behind all the trim, the seats, and all that kind of stuff. It would have been a good half hour just to get to the module itself. Whereas when we looked at the schematic, we saw there was a break in the cable up in the lift gate because we were after a rear camera issue. So what we did is we took the one trim piece off the rear lift gate and we're able to test it from there. Lo and behold, it only needed a rear camera. So therefore we saved not only the customer a bunch of money by speeding up the diagnosis, but you sped up your diagnosis, being able to get done with that one sooner and onto the next car to make your money and make your time. So again, today's tech tip was just a diagnostic starter. These are all things I learned along the way in my career. I learned to share, put down on paper so other people could use them. Hopefully you can get use out of them as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.